When my fiancé and I got married at City Hall, he told me his sister-in-law was pregnant with his brother's child. To protect the family legacy, he claimed I couldn't have children, when in fact he was the infertile one. And then he married his sister-in-law. I was so enraged that I immediately entered a whirlwind marriage with his arch-nemesis. He and his sister-in-law then tormented me together, even desecrating my mother's grave. He publicly humiliated me at an auction with my nude photos, forcing me to buy them back. He even plotted to kill me. Later, he discovered his sister-in-law had faked her pregnancy to deceive him. In a fit of rage, he chopped off her legs, went bankrupt himself, and was permanently incarcerated. Dialing my archenemy of 10 years, I asked, "Are you getting married?" The kind where we got married at City Hall, and have kids right away. On the other end, Ethan Sterling's voice was a mix of surprise and caution. "Scarlett Davies, are you trying to act dramatic with me again? You know, I just got abroad to close a deal. If this one falls through, the patriarch will kill me." I paused. "Never mind, I'll look around for someone else." Ethan Sterling, who had just been suspicious, instantly freaked out. "You're not allowed to look at anyone else. You can only marry me." "Just wait." I hung up the phone and took a taxi back to the home I once cherished. I had just finished packing my luggage, and was about to leave when Julian Blackwood returned, with Willow Hayes by his side. Seeing me dragging a suitcase, he frowned. "Just because I asked you to change rooms, do you need to pull this stunt?" Willow Hayes, timidly, spoke up. "Is Ms. Davies angry because she didn't get married, and is running away from home?" Julian Blackwood scoffed. "Scarlett Davies, I told you I'm only taking care of Willow, for my brother to have a child. Are you really so hung up on that piece of paper? If you act dramatic again, just move out of this house. I'd like to see where you'll go." I replied, "All right, I'm leaving now." My indifferent expression infuriated Julian Blackwood, and Willow Hayes said, feigning distress, "Ms. Davies, I just don't want the baby to be criticized before it's even born. Can I just have Jules' child for 10 months? Don't be holding a grudge against Jules, he truly loves you. He said you're perfect in every other way, except for not being able to have children. If it weren't for him taking responsibility for Arthur, me, and the baby, he wouldn't treat you like this. After all, if he wants to marry you, this is the only way to preserve the Blackwood family's sole family legacy." She wasn't wrong. After all, Arthur Blackwood was dead, and no one in the Blackwood family could continue the family line anymore. Julian Blackwood still didn't know that he was the infertile one. Since he wanted this child so much, I would grant his wish. "All right, now you two are legally married. You don't need to explain so much to me." I dragged my suitcase and tried to walk past them, but Willow Hayes trembling grabbed my arm. "Ms. Davies, I really didn't mean to break you two up. I'm the one who should leave. I'm sorry, baby, Mommy shouldn't keep you. Mommy doesn't want to be the other woman, don't blame Mommy." She dry heaved in agony, her face pale, tears streaming down. Julian Blackwood frantically helped her to the sofa, and comforted her. "Don't overthink it, Scarlett understands. She even prepared a gift for you, and the baby." He looked at a lucky charm bracelet on my wrist. 3 years ago, he had personally gone to a chapel, knelt on 1,000 steps, and chafed his knees to get it for me. He had once said that a lucky charm bracelet would bless me with eternal health and safety. But now, he wanted me to give it to Willow Hayes. I took off the lucky charm bracelet, and handed it to Willow Hayes. "I wish you and your baby health and safety." The words had barely left my lips when the lucky charm bracelet on Willow Hayes' wrist snapped, scattering on the floor. Willow Hayes' face turned pale, and she cried, clutching her belly. "Ms. Davies, you truly weren't sincere, were you?" "Jules, my stomach hurts so much." Julian Blackwood nervously held her, and sharply ordered the butler to call a doctor. "Scarlett Davies, you did that on purpose, didn't you? Apologize." His gaze at me was filled with disgust, but he didn't see the fleeting triumph in Willow Hayes' eyes. I scoffed and turned to leave. Julian Blackwood was finally completely enraged, grabbing a vase and smashing it fiercely at me. Sharp pain erupted from my back, and I collapsed heavily onto the shattered porcelain shards. The piercing pain made my head buzz, and my vision went black. When the doctor arrived, they exclaimed, trying to tend to my wounds, but Julian Blackwood stopped them. "She deserves it. Treat Willow first." He picked up Willow Hayes, stepped over me without a glance, and walked past. Willow Hayes, resting on his shoulder, silently smirked at me. "You lost." Half an hour later, the doctor finally came to treat the wounds on my back. After thanking them, I gritted my teeth and stood up, dragging a suitcase, preparing to leave, but a pair of hands tightly gripped mine. Willow said she wants chicken noodle soup. Your soup is always good, make it for her now. My suitcase was thrown to the floor, its contents spilling out. Julian Blackwood violently pushed me into the kitchen. The wound on my back instantly ripped open, making me gasp in pain. No, I don't have that obligation. I glared at him furiously. Julian Blackwood glanced at the suitcase, then strode forward and picked up the pink a personalized keepsake charm. 3 years ago, my mom had gone to a chapel to get it before she got sick. The blue one contained Julian Blackwood's personalized details, and the pink one held my personalized details. Mom said they were meant to keep us safe and ensure that those in love would always be together. At that time, Julian Blackwood insisted on taking my pink one, saying it looked just like me. He even said that way he could always see me. But now, he held the personalized keepsake charm high, threatening me. If you don't do it, I'll smash it. This was the only thing my mom left me. I would never allow anyone to destroy it. Julian Blackwood, you bastard. I lunged to snatch it, but he pushed me back into the kitchen and locked the door. Come get it after you've made the soup. An hour later, he opened the door, saw the soup I had made, and smiled. Wouldn't it have been better to just do it earlier? After I placed the soup on the dining table, Willow Hayes drank it spoonful by spoonful, her face beaming with happiness. Can I have it back now? I extended my hand to Julian Blackwood. The moment he handed the personalized keepsake charm over, Willow Hayes' eyes lit up. What a cute charm. She snatched it from me first. Give it back. I lunged forward, eyes red, trying to snatch it back, but Willow Hayes seemed startled and knocked over the soup bowl with a slap. Julian Blackwood tenderly held her ankle, which had been cut by a porcelain shard, and looked at me with cold eyes. You did that on purpose, didn't you? But I hadn't even touched the bowl. It was her own. Bang. He smashed the personalized keepsake charm violently on the floor, shattering it into pieces. When I saw my personalized details broken into fragments, my mind went blank. The only thing my mom left me was gone. I completely broke down, crying and squatting to pick up the pieces. Through my blurry tears, the shards cut my fingers, drawing blood. Julian Blackwood finally seemed to remember something, squatting down and looking at me with guilt. Before he could offer comfort, Willow Hayes cried out in pain, clutching her belly. He no longer cared about anything else, scooping her up and rushing to find a doctor. My phone rang. It was Ethan Sterling. Scarlett, I've sent someone to pick you up. They're at the mansion entrance. I quickly stood up and walked out the main door. Just as I spotted the black sedan, the butler suddenly appeared with his men. I was forced back inside. In the study, Julian Blackwood said to me with a cold face, Willow has a blood clotting disorder, and you caused her injury, leading to endless bleeding. You also have a rare blood type, so make amends by giving her a blood transfusion. The doctor looked at me, hesitant. Ms. Davies has also sustained significant injuries. If we draw more blood, she might become anemic. Perhaps it would be better to send Ms. Hayes to the hospital for further treatment. There's still time. No need. She's responsible for her own mistakes. Draw the blood. The moment the needle pierced my vein, I gasped for air, suffocating from the pain. After 800 cubic centimeters were drawn, my vision blurred and I felt faint. Julian Blackwood, however, held the doctor's hand, stopping him from pulling out the needle. Draw a bit more for backup. The doctor looked at me, disapproving, and said that drawing more would put me in danger. Julian Blackwood hesitated for 2 seconds, then, hearing Willow Hayes' cries of pain, he frowned. The pregnant woman is more important. Draw it. Feeling the cold sensation of blood leaving my body, I could no longer hold on and fainted. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself in a hospital bed. Julian Blackwood was by my side, looking at me worriedly. Scarlett, I was wrong yesterday. Are you feeling better? A nurse nearby smiled. This young lady is truly blessed. Your boyfriend has never left her side since last night, staying by your bedside. He even urged us to do everything we could to save you. He was almost crying from worry. I ignored them and quickly pulled out my phone. Sure enough, there were many missed calls. Ethan Sterling's plaintive texts came in one after another. Seeing my urgency, Julian Blackwood's eyes flickered with annoyance. Who is it? I said coolly. None of your business. He paused, about to press further, but I pointed to his vibrating phone. Someone's looking for you. He quickly got up and left the room. I called Ethan Sterling back, and his anxious voice came through. Scarlett, why didn't you get in the car I arranged? Did you change your mind? No, I just had something to deal with. I'll see you at City Hall in 3 days. Just as I hung up, Julian Blackwood returned. Noticing the unusual smile on my face, he felt a surge of irritation. It seemed that for the past 3 years, that smile had only been shown to him. He suddenly wanted to know who had been calling me and affecting my mood. But thinking of the previous call, the question on his lips died. Scarlett, Grandma wants me to take you back to the family estate tomorrow. She says she has something to tell you. Good. I also had something to return to Mrs. Eleanor Blackwood. The moment I entered the family estate's living room with Julian Blackwood, I saw Willow Hayes intimately chatting with Mrs. Eleanor Blackwood. As I entered, Mrs. Eleanor Blackwood's smile immediately faded. Some barren women, not only can't they have children themselves, but they almost ruined our Blackwood family's family legacy. I originally thought you were sensible, but it turns out you're such a selfish and malicious woman. Julian Blackwood grabbed my hand and whispered, ever since my brother passed away, Grandma's temper has become very bad. Willow Hayes and I got married at City Hall because she forced us, but don't worry, once the baby is born, they won't be able to stop me from marrying you. I instantly remembered the premarital health check report from a month ago, which clearly stated Julian Blackwood was infertile. At that time, his brother Arthur Blackwood had just passed away, and I was afraid Mrs. Eleanor Blackwood and Julian couldn't bear the blow of the Blackwood family potentially having no heir, so I took the blame for being infertile. Back then, Julian Blackwood tightly gripped my hand and said he would marry me no matter what. He said, Scarlett, I can live without children, but I can't live without you. Yet, in just half a month, the man who had claimed he couldn't live without me had gotten married to someone else because of a child. Seeing my silence, Mrs. Eleanor Blackwood's temper flared even more. Take off our Blackwood family's family heirloom bracelet and get out. Don't you dare disturb Jules and Willow's wedding again. She's the only granddaughter-in-law our Blackwood family will ever acknowledge. I took off the family heirloom bracelet from my wrist and handed it to Willow Hayes. Unexpectedly, she loosened her grip and the bracelet slipped. Clang. It shattered into several pieces, gleaming with a faint green light under the crystal chandelier. Ms. Davies, I know you're unhappy with me, but you shouldn't take out your anger on this family treasure. Willow Hayes shrieked in alarm, and Mrs. Eleanor Blackwood slapped me across the face. Do you know how much this bracelet is worth? You couldn't pay for it even if you sold yourself. I'm calling the police to arrest you. I turned my head away, a trickle of blood appearing at the corner of my mouth. Julian Blackwood frantically shielded me. Grandma, Scarlett couldn't have done it on purpose. Maybe the broken bracelet just warded off disaster for Willow and the baby. We can just have it repaired. Mrs. Eleanor Blackwood scoffed. All right, I won't call the police. But she must kneel and apologize to Willow until she's satisfied. Willow Hayes, her face pale and on the verge of tears, said, how could I dare to make Ms. Davies apologize? I stole the happiness that was rightfully hers. I'm the one who should apologize. I said coldly, you were the one who didn't hold it properly and deliberately dropped it. What does that have to do with me? Julian Blackwood's expression, however, completely darkened. Scarlett Davies, kneel and apologize to Grandma and Willow. I stubbornly straightened my back. Impossible. Otherwise, let's check the surveillance footage to see whose fault it really was. Hearing this, Willow Hayes' face instantly turned ashen, and she fell to her knees, starting to bow her head. Grandma, I was the one who didn't hold it properly. Please don't be angry with Ms. Davies. Mrs. Eleanor Blackwood quickly helped her up. You're pregnant, you can't be doing this. Today, I must make her apologize to you. Julian Blackwood gripped my wrist and whispered, Scarlett, just kneel and admit your mistake. Grandma is just worried about her grandson, that's why she's like this. I shook off his hand. I won't kneel. I did nothing wrong. His eyes finally turned cold. Don't forget your mom is still in the hospital. I can have someone pull the plug on her oxygen, with one phone call. My heart was shocked, and I looked with disbelief at the man I had loved for 3 years. 3 years ago, when Willow Hayes chose Arthur Blackwood, he went to the riverfront to drink away his sorrows. I sensed he had suicidal thoughts, so I stayed out in the cold wind with him, all night, talking him through it. Later, he confessed his feelings to me, saying he wanted to be with me, and completely forget Willow Hayes. At first, I didn't agree because I believed love shouldn't be tainted, and I didn't want to be anyone's replacement or a pawn. But he became increasingly attentive towards me. He even expressed his sympathy when he learned my family had gone bankrupt. My father had committed suicide, and my mother was paralyzed, offering to move my mother to Blackwood Corp's hospital. At that time, his eyes were full of tenderness and admiration as he looked at me. Scarlett, I truly like you. There's no need to rush your refusal, just consider this a friendly gesture and accept it, okay? I was touched and accepted his kindness. He accompanied me in caring for my mother, until she said she thought Julian Blackwood was a good man, and hoped I would try to be with him. But I never imagined he would use my mother's life to force me to apologize today. Seeing me trembling all over, tears in my eyes, a flicker of reluctance crossed his face. But under Mrs. Eleanor Blackwood's sharp reprimand, his expression hardened again. You won't kneel, huh? He pulled out his phone and dialed the hospital. No. I'll kneel. I gritted my teeth and knelt on the ground, bowing my head repeatedly towards Willow Hayes. It wasn't until my forehead bled that Mrs. Eleanor Blackwood impatiently waved her hand. Go back and reflect on your actions. Jules and Willow are having their wedding the day after tomorrow. You're not allowed to cause any trouble. I fled the Blackwood family estate in humiliation and called Ethan Sterling. His voice, cheerful yet laced with complaint, almost brought tears to my eyes. You finally decided to call me. Did you see the news? I went all out to marry you, and luckily, everything went smoothly. I opened social media, and a trending online story popped up on my screen. The Sterling Group heir abruptly left a 5-day observation and signing conference midway, reportedly rushing back to get married. International journalists asked the other party in the deal if they felt disrespected. The other party stated that one should be brave enough to pursue love in their youth, and they greatly admired Ethan Sterling's attitude of valuing emotions and family, so they would postpone the conference and wait for his return. Domestic journalists cornered Ethan Sterling's father and grandfather downstairs at their company. Both men smiled and said, normally, we would have broken his legs for doing something like that, but the daughter-in-law he chose is exactly the one we approved of, and it would have been too late if we didn't snatch her up now. Granddaughter-in-law, your grandpa here wants to say a few words to you. Our Sterling family would never look down on someone because their family's fortunes declined. Your grandpa has always hoped to fulfill the childhood betrothal set by our two families back then. Our Sterling family will always be your strongest support. I clutched my phone, finally unable to hold back, and burst into tears. Ethan Sterling and I were set for a childhood betrothal by our grandfathers, when we were still in the womb. But he was so annoying when he was little that I didn't like him. It wasn't until he turned 10 that he started seriously pursuing me, loving me to his core. I had originally thought that if I hadn't found someone I liked by 20, I would be with him, but then I met Julian Blackwood. After I started dating Julian Blackwood, Ethan Sterling would send me emails every holidays and special occasions. He always made sure to tease me, saying that if Julian Blackwood ever disappointed me, I should come to him. It wasn't until today that I truly realized Ethan Sterling was the one who genuinely loved me, and was right for me. Ethan Sterling, you don't mind that I was with someone else for 3 years? I asked, sobbing, the last question on my mind. There was a rare moment of silence on Ethan Sterling's end. Then he said earnestly, Scarlett Davies, don't cry, and don't feel inferior. I like you for who you are, regardless of who you've liked or been with. That Blackwood jerk was blind and foolish to betray you. It's not that you're not good enough. He didn't cherish you, but I will. Wait for me to come back. I've already ordered your wedding ring. Go try it on at the store tomorrow. After tomorrow, I'm going to let everyone know that you are Ethan Sterling's wife, the most exceptional woman and the most deserving of me. That night, even though I knew Julian Blackwood and Willow Hayes wouldn't be home, I still dragged a suitcase to a hotel. From that day on, I didn't want to have anything to do with them. The next day, I went to the city's most exclusive jewelry store, as per Ethan Sterling's address, to try on my wedding ring. A large pink diamond ring shimmered with a soft glow on my hand. My heart warmed. I hadn't realized Ethan Sterling remembered I liked pink. A surprised voice rang out from behind me. Jules, I love this one. Julian Blackwood's face instantly darkened when he saw it was me. Scarlett Davies, I told you to stay home and reflect. Are you stalking us here? He grabbed my hand and roughly pulled off the ring. The sharp edge of the setting cut my finger, and blood immediately welled up. I gasped in pain. Stop coveting what can never be yours. If you keep this attitude, I won't even consider marrying you. Julian Blackwood coldly chastised me, then placed the ring on Willow Hayes' hand. This pink really suits you. We'll take this ring. A sales associate brought a first aid kit to bandage my finger, looking troubled. I'm sorry, sir, but this ring was custom ordered by a client from abroad with a pink diamond. It's not for sale. Perhaps you'd like to choose another design. Willow Hayes clutched the pink diamond ring, refusing to take it off. Jules, I just love this one. Ask the client if they're willing to transfer ownership. I scoffed, no, it will only ever be mine. Then I turned to the sales associate and said, please make sure to clean it thoroughly later. I'm afraid it's been contaminated with bad luck. Willow Hayes' eyes immediately reddened, and Julian Blackwood angrily grabbed my wrist, roaring, Scarlett Davies, have I given you too much leeway? I told you, I'm not buying you any ring today. Give up on that idea. The surrounding crowd was drawn in, whispering amongst themselves, is the other woman really this brazen now? Stealing a diamond ring right in front of the original fiancé, TSK. If it were me, I would have slapped her already. How dare she provoke me like this? Julian Blackwood couldn't stand the gossip and started dragging me out. A long, strong hand firmly gripped his wrist. Julian Blackwood released his grip with a wince, and I was smoothly pulled into that person's embrace. I'm sorry, my love, I'm late. The moment Ethan Sterling appeared, the surrounding crowd erupted. Isn't that the Sterling Group heir? Is she the woman he abandoned his business deal to marry, as reported in the news? Julian Blackwood stared at Ethan Sterling, his eyes like he wanted to devour him. Let her go. Ethan Sterling, however, chuckled nonchalantly. I'm holding my wife. What's it to you? Wife. Scarlett Davies, what in the world is going on? Julian Blackwood's voice suddenly soared, as if he had suffered the greatest betrayal. I scoffed. Julian Blackwood, you're not in a position to question me, are you? Your wife is standing right there. Ethan Sterling noticed the diamond ring on Willow Hayes' hand, and his gaze darkened. Manager Leo, why is the diamond ring I custom ordered for my wife on her hand? The jewelry store manager wiped sweat from his brow, reprimanding the earlier sales associate, and said apologetically to Willow Hayes, Mom, please take off the ring. This design is an exclusive custom order for a client, and is not for sale. Willow Hayes reluctantly took off the ring, her face contorted. Ethan Sterling, with an expression of disgust, instructed, how unlucky. Take it and clean it thoroughly. What kind of person just likes to steal other people's things? His words, laced with a hidden jab, almost made Willow Hayes vomit blood. Julian Blackwood, however, ignored her, gritting his teeth as he said to me, Scarlett Davies, we haven't even broken up yet, and you're so eager to find another man to provoke me. I exclaimed in mock surprise. Fie. Didn't you got married at City Hall with your widowed sister-in-law a few days ago? Doesn't that mean we've broken up? Or are you trying to play both sides? Ethan Sterling added another jab, TSK, one who abandons his partner on a whim, and one who snatched someone else's boyfriend, and now wants to steal a diamond ring. You two really are a perfect pair, aren't you? He intentionally twisted his words to make them sting. I couldn't help but chuckle, feeling a surge of warmth inside. Why hadn't I noticed how cute he was when he was being so sharp-tongued? Julian Blackwood and Willow Hayes' faces flushed with anger and embarrassment from his words. The crowd suddenly understood. How scandalous. Abandoned his girlfriend to marry his widowed sister-in-law. This man looks familiar. Isn't he the second son of Blackwood Corp? The one whose elder brother died in a plane crash recently. Holy cow. His brother's body isn't even cold, and he's already eyeing his widowed sister-in-law. Can't even comment. Some people also cursed Willow Hayes. This woman must be a gold digger, right? She must have shamelessly latched onto the second son out of greed for wealth. Who in their right mind would got married at City Hall with her deceased boyfriend's brother, right after he died? Originally, no one knew that the deceased Arthur Blackwood had a pregnant fiancée, but after Ethan Sterling's remarks today, it would probably take less than 2 hours for the entire internet to know about this Blackwood Corp scandal. Seeing that they both couldn't save face, Willow Hayes could only clutch her stomach and cry out in pain. Julian Blackwood promptly picked her up and rushed out. The crowd became even more agitated. Oh my God. Is she pregnant too? Poor Mr. Blackwood. Betrayed by his own brother. Some also looked at me with sympathy. His ex-girlfriend is pretty miserable too. Good thing she saw through him in time and found a much better man. Ethan Sterling mysteriously led me to the entrance of the jewelry store. It was then that I noticed the plaza was covered in my favorite Ecuadorian roses, and on the large screen above, moments and memories of us growing up together began to loop. The onlookers inside the store were stunned. Outside, reporters had already gathered, aiming their cameras at us. Ethan Sterling knelt on one knee, holding up the pink diamond ring, his eyes filled with deep affection and sincerity. Scarlett, when I was little, I didn't understand how to love someone, so I'd come up with all sorts of ways to annoy you just to get your attention. But later, I understood that loving someone means wanting them to be well and happy every single day. I believe I have the ability to make you happy and joyful every day for the rest of your life. Will you marry me? With tears in my eyes, I nodded, allowing him to slide the ring onto my ring finger. Amidst everyone's applause and cheers, Ethan Sterling cupped my face as if I were the most precious treasure, and slowly pressed a kiss upon my lips. It was a long moment before he reluctantly let me go. Scarlett, how about we got married at City Hall today? I can't wait any longer. I blushed and nodded, then whispered something in his ear. All right, don't worry. I'll send someone to pick up your mom and take her to Sterling Group's hospital today. I'll go see your mom with you later. I'm sure she'll be very happy. Amidst the blessings of the crowd, he pulled me into the car. On the way to City Hall, the road was lined with roses and hot air balloons adorned with banners. They all read, Scarlett, marry me. As the car reached each spot, these hot air balloons would ascend one after another, becoming a romantic cityscape. After Ethan Sterling and I got married at City Hall, Mr. Robert Sterling's call came impatiently. You rascal, hurry and bring Scarlett back. Your grandpa is eager to meet her. After many years, stepping into the Sterling family mansion again, my heart was a mix of emotions, and I felt a little nervous. As if knowing what I was thinking, Ethan Sterling's large hand squeezed my palm, and he leaned in close to my ear. Don't be nervous. My dad and grandpa are probably more nervous than you are, ha ha. The gentle cedarwood scent instantly calmed me. Indeed, the moment I stepped into the living room, I saw Mr. Robert Sterling anxiously directing the servants. That grilled salmon, with asparagus, is Scarlett's favorite dish. Place it over here. And Mr. Charles Sterling was holding something, muttering excitedly to himself. The moment they saw me, both their eyes lit up, and they quickly walked over. Mr. Robert Sterling reached out to pull me, but then felt it was inappropriate, awkwardly retracting his hand in midair. Scarlett, welcome to our home. Your aunt always spoke of you before she passed, and now you're finally here. Ethan Sterling laughed. Dad. What do you mean, visiting? Scarlett is coming home. With that, he proudly pulled out the 2 marriage certificates from his embrace and waved them around, just like a child waiting for praise from their parents. Mr. Robert Sterling beamed with delight. Yes. Yes. Welcome home. Mr. Charles Sterling took my hand, and, from a box, pulled out a jade bracelet, placing it on my wrist. Scarlett, this bracelet has been passed down through your grandmother's heritage, and it should have been yours long ago. Our Sterling family has few heirs, and this rascal Ethan Sterling kept dragging his feet about getting married. We disciplined him plenty for it. Only later did we find out he had been waiting for you, all along. I looked at Ethan Sterling. Were you so sure you'd wait for me? What if you hadn't? He tilted his head proudly. If I hadn't, I would have crashed your wedding. I've decided you're the one, and there's no room for anyone else in my heart. Scarlett, it's a good thing you finally came to your senses. Do you know, the day I got your call abroad, I almost went crazy with happiness? We all burst out laughing at his words. However, a cold scoff broke the warm atmosphere. You're celebrating too soon. Would you still be laughing if you knew you married a barren woman? The person who entered was Mrs. Eleanor Blackwood, leaning on a cane, her face sinister. Mr. Charles Sterling's face immediately darkened. What are you doing here? Our Sterling family doesn't welcome you. Mr. Robert Sterling shouted for the butler, only to find him restrained and unable to move by 2 bodyguards. Jian Guolin, are you still holding on to that hatred for me, after all these decades? Never mind, I'm not here to reminisce. I'm just here to act dramatic, and remind an old friend to keep your eyes open when choosing a granddaughter-in-law. Don't be kept in the dark and be deceived, causing the Sterling family to lose its heirs forever. These few words made Mr. Charles Sterling's chest heave, and his face turned red with anger. Get out. Stop sowing discord here. And how dare you curse our Sterling family? You should worry about how your Blackwood family is going to handle public relations, for the scandal you've just caused. As Ethan Sterling quietly explained, I finally learned that Mr. Charles Sterling and Mrs. Eleanor Blackwood were childhood sweethearts in a prearranged marriage. Unfortunately, Mrs. Eleanor Blackwood had looked down on the Sterling family for not having deep enough influence back then, and had seduced the Blackwood patriarch, making Mr. Charles Sterling the laughingstock of the circle. No wonder Mr. Charles Sterling valued the prearranged marriage contract so much. He still wanted Ethan Sterling to marry me even after our Davies family had fallen. Fortunately, the Sterling family was now the city's leading family, while the Blackwood family had plummeted since the patriarch's death. You don't need to worry about us. Our Blackwood family acts with integrity. By then, your Sterling family will truly be ruined by this little bitch and lose its heirs. Mrs. Eleanor Blackwood pointed at me and cursed. Little bitch, do you think you can gain the Sterling family's protection? Prominent families value heritage the most, and your infertility is a fundamental flaw. They'll kick you out sooner or later. Then we'll settle accounts with you properly. Mr. Robert Sterling and Mr. Charles Sterling were shocked. Scarlett, what does she mean? HMPH, this little bitch went for a premarital checkup with my grandson back then, and it turned out she was infertile. That's why my second grandson married his elder brother's girlfriend, and they are both innocent and pure. My granddaughter-in-law is carrying my elder grandson's flesh and blood. Our Blackwood family simply couldn't bear to see our bloodline being left outside. Originally, my second grandson wanted this little bitch to be the mother after the child was born, but who knew she would return kindness with enmity and try to ruin our Blackwood family's reputation. Since that's the case, we won't be polite anymore. After speaking, she urged everyone to look at their phones. It was then that I saw Blackwood Corp had just released a public statement. In the live video, it was clearly Mrs. Eleanor Blackwood speaking to the Sterling family. She smiled, pointing to her brooch. You think I came here today for nothing? I'm going live so everyone can know the truth. At that moment, the comment section had already erupted. Holy cow, so that's how it is. The Blackwood family resorted to this last resort to save the child. It's understandable. This woman is truly vicious. They even said she could raise the child after it was born, but she turned around and bit them, making her boyfriend and sister-in-law take the blame and be cursed by everyone. She just climbed a higher branch, didn't she? The Sterling Group's only son is indeed a love-struck idiot. He almost got tricked. Mr. Robert Sterling's face grew darker the more he watched, and Mr. Charles Sterling clutched his chest, cursing furiously. Quick, turn off this live stream. Even if Scarlett can't have children, our Sterling family won't abandon her. We can just use technology to have a few children. Exactly. Scarlett, I love you for who you are, regardless of whether you can have children or not. To measure a woman by that is objectifying women. It's an insult to love. Ethan Sterling, his eyes red, held my hand and declared, causing most of the netizens to switch sides. That was so well said, boo-hoo-hoo. For Mr. Sterling to like her so much, she must be truly outstanding. So what if she can't have children? Why do you old hags have to stick your noses in other people's business? Mrs. Eleanor Blackwood seemed not to have expected the netizens to switch sides, and was so angry she couldn't speak. My heart was filled with emotion, and I knew this farce had to end. Grandma, actually, the infertile one isn't me, it's your grandson. Hearing me say this, Mrs. Eleanor Blackwood immediately flew into a rage. What nonsense are you spewing, you little bitch? The medical report clearly stated it back then. Are you trying to blame my grandson? I sighed and explained the situation. Everyone was stunned to hear that I had hidden the truth because I was afraid the Blackwood family and Julian Blackwood couldn't handle the blow. So she covered for them out of kindness, only to be accused of infertility herself. Grandma, Julian Blackwood kept claiming he didn't mind that I couldn't have children, yet he turned around and married a pregnant Willow Hayes without any proof. It truly broke my heart that you cursed me. I said with a look of regret, continuing. I originally wanted to leave your Blackwood family some last bit of dignity, but you've gone too far today. So, let the whole internet see who truly made the mistake. Mrs. Eleanor Blackwood's face turned pale, and she murmured, saying it was impossible. You little bitch must be lying to slander my grandson. If you want to know the truth, we can just do the tests again. I called Julian Blackwood. He was still with Willow Hayes, but rushed over frantically. Grandma, how could you do this without my permission? Willow's pregnancy is delicate. It could be dangerous if she found out. After that, he called someone and instructed them to keep Willow Hayes away from her phone and prevent her from hearing any gossip or rumors. After hanging up, he looked at me, with disgust. Scarlett Davies, I loved you very much back then, and I truly didn't mind you couldn't have children. But those are not reasons for you to be twisting the truth. You are truly malicious and selfish. I smiled. Since that's the case, let's go do the tests again right now. All right, but we must choose an impartial third-party institution. We can't go to any hospital under Blackwood Corp. Or Sterling Group. He feared I would try to act dramatic, but he didn't know I felt the same way. The test results came out quickly. I was perfectly healthy, and Julian Blackwood suffered from infertility. Impossible. He dragged me to another testing facility. The results were still the same. The entire internet exploded. Holy cow. So what she said was true. She kindly took the blame, only to be betrayed by the Blackwood family. Ugh. Impossible. How could my second grandson have such a condition? Impossible. Mrs. Eleanor Blackwood clutched her chest in disbelief. Mr. Charles Sterling coldly told her to apologize to me. Amidst everyone's shouts, Mrs. Eleanor Blackwood and Julian Blackwood reluctantly apologized to me and scurried away. I pulled Ethan Sterling to my mother's hospital bed. Seeing me finally appear, my mother let out a sigh of relief. She said that not seeing Julian Blackwood and me for some time had made her worry something had happened to us. After hearing everything I told her, my mother's eyes reddened. My dear daughter, it was my fault back then. I shouldn't have let you be with Julian Blackwood so easily. I harmed you. I hugged her tightly, crying. Mom, I chose my own path. But thankfully, everything turned out well in the end. Ethan Sterling comforted us from the side. Mom, I promise I won't let Scarlett suffer even a little bit. Please just focus on recovering. 10 days later, Ethan Sterling and I held a grand wedding. Julian Blackwood burst into the banquet hall, looking haggard and unshaven, begging me to forgive him. He said he deeply regretted being deluded into marrying Willow Hayes, and hoped I would give him another chance. I had someone escort him out. 3 months after the wedding, I became pregnant with Ethan Sterling's child. Everyone in the Sterling family was overjoyed. Ethan Sterling had already handed over my work at Sterling Group to others. My love, you're our family's precious treasure now. Focus on taking care of yourself. We can talk about everything else later. While I was home, bored during my pregnancy, I heard news about the Blackwood family. It turned out that Julian Blackwood had started drinking heavily every day after that incident, refusing to deal with Willow Hayes anymore. Mrs. Eleanor Blackwood had no choice but to place all her hopes on the only hope in Willow Hayes' belly. But to her surprise, Willow Hayes finally exposed her lie during a prenatal checkup. She wasn't pregnant at all. She had bribed the doctor to falsely claim pregnancy, her goal being to force Julian Blackwood to marry her. Just as netizens had predicted, she merely wanted to marry the Blackwood Corp heir, and would stop at nothing to achieve it. When Mrs. Eleanor Blackwood learned the truth, her only hope vanished, and she suffered a stroke on the spot, falling into a vegetative state. Willow Hayes, however, acted as if nothing had happened. She took advantage of Julian Blackwood's drunken state, drugged him, and got into his bed. After a night of debauchery, she used the recorded video to threaten Julian Blackwood against divorcing her. Otherwise, she would let the entire internet see his hypocritical face, claiming he loved me and hadn't done anything wrong to me, yet contradicting himself. Julian Blackwood finally understood that the childhood sweethearts he and his brother had loved since childhood had long since gone rotten. He had actually betrayed his vows to me for such a rotten person. Mrs. Eleanor Blackwood was incapacitated, and Julian Blackwood spent his days in a drunken stupor, becoming a complete mess. Blackwood Corp quickly collapsed, and the person who poached their group's key personnel was none other than Ethan Sterling. Like a puppy waiting for its master's praise, he placed the newly established Davies Group's documents in my hand. My love, if Mr. Davies hadn't been ambushed and passed away back then, Davies Group wouldn't have collapsed. You refused my help before, but you're not allowed to refuse it now. Consider this my first gift to you, and the baby. I was incredibly touched, bursting into tears as I hugged him. Later, I gave birth to a daughter, and the Sterling family cherished her like a treasure. My love, how about we have another child with your last name? Our Davies Group needs an heir. Ethan Sterling's rascally words made everyone laugh, but I was touched and agreed. He was willing to pass down his family fortune to our daughter, and he also knew I wanted to continue the Davies Group's heritage. He truly was the one who understood me best. On our daughter's baby's naming ceremony, I received a gold-set heirloom bracelet. It was the very one passed down through the Blackwood family's heritage. Julian Blackwood also wrote me a letter. He said he was sorry for wronging me and letting me down. He hoped I would accept it as an atonement gift. I threw away the letter and ordered someone to send the bracelet back. 2 days later, a news headline appeared: after Blackwood Corp collapsed. The second young master had internal strife with his wife and accidentally killed her during an argument. I then learned that Willow Hayes had a huge fight with Julian Blackwood that day after she found out he wanted to send the bracelet to me. Julian Blackwood, completely enraged by her repeated threats, smashed her head with an ashtray. He was arrested for intentional homicide and sentenced to the death penalty. Before his execution, he wanted to see me one last time, but I refused. From the moment he betrayed my trust, I lost all feelings for him. Seeing my sigh of resignation, Ethan Sterling leaned his head on my shoulder. My love, I could never betray you. My heart is filled with only you.